So here we are with everything powered down. You can see our ever-present FM radio stations. So we're going to power the circuit up. So you can see we're getting some very small reflections. But they're very difficult to see. So one of the modes we can use, go to display, to waterfall. So it gives me a few seconds of resolution of what some of the returns look like. So this is the application that's provided with the Tiny SA. So first thing we're going to do is connect and I'm going to take a single scan sweep. And again, our FM radio stations. There's some other noise right along in here. Now we'll select a continuous scan. So I want to record this. So while doing our continuous scan, we'll select record. And every second, this is writing an S parameter file. Okay. I'll turn that off for now. This is an application I created to view GPR files. So I'm going to load a demo version. This was taken the day before Christmas last year. And these are all S parameter files. Starting with 0, this has 621 of them. So it took 621 seconds of data. So I'm going to start with 0. It's going to load each file in sequence. So with the default settings, this is what we're looking at. The frequency spanning between 1 megahertz and 91 megahertz. Let's bring the squelch down a little bit to 7. Read the file back in again, and we're looking at a little more detail. Sorry for the stuttering of my program, but it's loading data quicker than it's updating the screen. Okay, so this is in frequency, which tells us something, but it's not very apparent. So let's change that over to reading in meters in depth. Read the file back in again. Okay, so this scale is going from 0 to 50 meters. Now I don't have very much data from 15 meters on down. So we're going to scale this. Let's scale it by 5. Read the data set back in. Okay, so you see I'm showing some structures around depth of 4 meters. The solid lines, pretty much we can ignore those. Those are all either generated internally to my device or coming from the FM radio stations. Same way there. Any solid line probably isn't going to occur in nature. So, now that I have this displayed, I want to know what these areas or where they occurred, so I can load a corresponding GPS file. And now when I click here, I'll get the coordinates of where that was when it was taken. Okay, so we'll clear that. We're going to load a different file. And the corresponding GPS file. And again, this is showing some activity around just over a meter, maybe 1.5 meters in depth. And then starting about 3 meters and going down to 4.5, almost 5 meters in depth. Insufficient data to really see much deeper than that. So I convert the GPS file into a KML file, and I can load it into Google Earth. I've also annotated this one for the various objects that we saw. Starting here, walking counterclockwise, on the edge of this bluff, down into this canyon, back up to my car. There's a 3D view of it. So I'm looking for minerals that are along the edge here as it's eroding away. But I think most of them are down at this level, at that elevation. Okay, let's load in another sample file. This file only has 186 seconds of recording. So I'm going to show it in expanded format. And I'm going to lower the squelch down to 5. Let's read the file back in. So now we're able to discern some activity down around 1 to maybe 9, 10 megahertz. Probably around 30 megahertz. The line around 50 megahertz is probably generated within my equipment, especially because it's changing frequency. It tells me it's something that's warming up, like the LO. All the lines between 89 megahertz and 108 megahertz are FM radio stations. Actually, we might see some of the airport traffic down below 108 as well. I'm sorry, above 108. Okay, so let's convert this over to meters. Now, something I want to say about that is that we're guessing at the propagation rate of radio waves through rock. Radio waves in air travel about 0.3 meters per nanosecond. So we're going to be less than that. I've seen estimations of rock propagation rates of about 1/10 of a meter per nanosecond, so we're going to use that. Again, it's just a guess. Different types of rock are going to propagate at different rates. And let's switch it to meters and do that again. So we have some data at depth, but it's very spotty. As you can see it clearly, there's a change here. What it was, I was stepping off my back porch, walking around on the lawn. So it's changed the scale. So I'm out in my backyard and I'm trying to locate water pipes down in the ground. What should be what these are. I don't have a corresponding GPS file for this, but if I did, I could go back and see where I was standing as I crossed over these lines.